22 long rifle as compared to 38 special. And what we have today is some Remington ammunition. I'm using Remington HTP 38 Special Plus P versus Remington Golden Bullet 22 long rifle. I've been curious about that Golden Bullet for some time. Our HTP 38 Special Plus P is a 110 grain. It's rated at 995 feet per second. Our 22 long rifle is our basic 36 grain hollow point, rated at 1280 feet per second through a rifle. So I'm going to use my 3-inch barrel Taurus 856 to test the 38 special, our 4-inch barrel Taurus TX22 to test our 22 long rifle. Overall size of guns and barrel travel of those bullets is near identical, so one kind of takes place of the other in carry size. So I'm kind of curious of what we get with this stuff. You know, that Golden Bullet, it's got a pretty decent looking hollow point, and our Remington HTP is a semi-jacketed hollow point. So I'm curious about how they'll compare, you know. And it's not so much that I'm putting up a competition and just trying to make the 22 look bad here. I'm just trying to see, you know, a lot of people want to carry 22 for self-defense. They say it's just as good. Well, if that's true, we really need to see how it compares to something that is a standard performer like our 38 special. So we're going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. And then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. I'm just going to go into plain clear ballistics to see what the best potential of these cartridges are. And then after that, I'm going to put on 4 layers of them on the front of this first 3-inch block that represents our pectoral muscle. And then after that, 3 inches, I'll have a 1/4-inch medium density fiberboard that represents hitting ribs or sternum. And that'll be more of our real world simulation. And then I'm going to shoot my steel to see what kind of practical overall shootability I can get with these. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we have our 38 Special Plus P from our 3-inch barrel. It's rated at 995 feet per second. That's through a 4-inch barrel, but let's see what I get with my 3-inch barrel. Oh, a lot of flash, no read. 1085, wow. 1056. No read. 1032. 1054, so quite a bit above rated velocity through a shorter barrel. So that's pretty good velocity there. 22 long rifle. Now, I don't know what's rated in a handgun, but it's 1280 feet per second through a rifle. Let's see what we get in our 4-inch barrel here. .538, obviously something wrong there. Oh, so it's not a squib because it did read. But I'll check it anyways here. I'll be back in a moment. All right, so our bore seems to be non-obstructed. That was weird. Let's just keep going here. 571. Dud. Actually, it wasn't a dud. It just didn't feed the next round. No read. Huh. I don't know what's going on here. 832. 804. 850. 625. 838. 819. 814. 844. 781. All right, so I'm gonna exclude those 500 ones. I'm just gonna count the 7s and the 800s. That's why I did so many through the chronograph, just so I can try to get the best average I can. And those 500 feet per second ones, you know, I'm gonna try to keep an eye out for those when they hit our ballistic gel block. I know you guys are already thinking the same thing I am. Who cares at this point? I'm not gonna use this stuff, but let's hit our ballistics gel block anyway and see what we get. All right, 38 Special, plain clear ballistics. Let's see what this does. A lot of flash there. Let's try a 22 LR. See what this does. All right, that felt like a normal shot. Kind of close to the other path, but that didn't feel like anything that was like 500. It felt like 800. So let's go take a look. All right, so interesting. We actually kind of, in some respect, we outperformed that 38 Special with that 22 because we definitely don't have adequate penetration with our 38 Special. It expanded so big from all that velocity and that light bullet weight. Like if this is 125, we'd still get more penetration. This is a 110 and got that much expansion. It's reducing its momentum because there's not enough bullet weight and mass to keep trucking through. So we only got a penetration of 9 inches with that 38 Special, and then the bullet sucked back a little bit. Good expansion. Now with our 22 long rifle, no expansion, and we got a penetration here about 11 1/4. So it's not quite adequate either, but it's better than the 38 Special, I guess, in some regard. So let's put on our denim and our MDF and see how they compare that way. All right, 4 layers of denim and a 1/4 inch MDF. I'm gonna guess and say that 38 will probably do well here, and that real world simulation typically is what I trust, and it's, you know, what the bullet's really gonna do in the real world going through a body, because it's gonna clog, potentially hit bones and all that. So 38 Special, see what we get. Ooh, all right, let's try 22 now. All right, 22 long rifle. Hopefully get a powerful shot here. That felt normal as well. Go take a look. All right, so yeah, we could definitely see some differences there, and that changed the outcome completely. You know, that's kind of what I expected to see. And I trust this real world simulation here, because when you go through that denim, you know, typically it clogs the hollow point. With our semi-jacketed, not so much, but it's generally a little more affected by our MDF. So our MDF, we can definitely see we had some expansion before we hit it, and then probably, you know, reformed that lead a little bit as it went through our bone simulation. And we had an adequate penetration of just shy of 17 inches. With our 22 long rifle, this is pretty typical for low-end ammo. We got some nose deformation, no expansion, obviously. Not quite adequate. We're at about 9 1/4 inches. So big difference there. One is a lot more adequate than the other. So let me shoot our steel, see what kind of practical accuracy I can get with these. All right, so here's a look at our bullets up close. Here is our 38 Special and our plain gel. Just a huge amount of energy dump and expansion. Lost a little piece of lead there, but overall really good energy dump, big bullet there. Plain gel with our 22 long rifle hollow point is pretty pitiful compared to that, so not very good there. And when we look at our 38 Special and our 22 going through the MDF, a big difference there. We actually did get a little bit of deformation with our 22, and it looks very similar to the type of deformation we got here with our 38 Special. Now you can see what happened here. You know, that lead stripped off once it hit that MDF, which, you know, that's going to cause immediate energy dump, and then a bone simulation is going to strip that off, and then this is going to go to an adequate depth. So even though this doesn't look nearly as impressive as this, it still did pretty good. I'm going to say overall this 38 is a pretty decent choice for self-defense. I think it would work quite well. Our 22 long rifle is what it is. It's nothing that good there. So that's what you get looking at these bullets up close. All right, 40 yards from the target. Why not? I just figure with that 22 long rifle ammo, you know, it might be funny if we get some weird shots and they don't hit because of those 500 velocities. But also, you know, 40 yards is about as far as I want to go back, where I think I can consistently hit a target. So 38 Special, let's see what this does from 40 yards. All right, so that's some very stout ammo, a lot of flash, a lot of power. Very powerful, very good ammo overall for that. 22 long rifle, see what I can do with this. Let me check for bore obstructions. I'll be back. Seems to be clear. All right, so I'm aiming basically at the neck of that silhouette there. Let me run some more here. All right, so you know, even there, I didn't get anything that was one of those weird ones where it's like 500 feet per second. I could tell that, but there was definitely in that last run there some that were probably 675 to 700 feet a second. I could feel the slide just barely pick up the next round, barely have enough to feed accurate, but those first few rounds really says a lot, says everything. I'm gonna say this is the worst 22 ammo I've tried to date. That is very inconsistent garbage, which is interesting because Remington can make some pretty good ammo, and like this HTP ammo they make for centerfire, it's pretty good ammo. I've seen most of their HTP be decent. Some of it's not so great, where you know you're never going to get expansion like 40 Smith & Wesson versions. But overall, when you're looking at the revolver semi-jacketed hollow point, there's a lot less that can go wrong with that, because that soft tip and they seem to expand, and they're loading these very, very hot. That's a very hot loaded cartridge there. So overall, I'm gonna say our 38 was adequate, did really well. It had a massive amount of energy dump, and then when we go through our denim and our MDF, it reduced that a little bit, but it still did really well. Our 22 long rifle here is, I don't know what this is for. You know, if we shot this through a rifle, there's just no way we'd get that 1280. 1280 feet per second expressed through a 4-inch barrel handgun is generally somewhere around 980 feet per second. And this stuff was like 850. So if we shot this through a rifle, we'd probably be up there 1050 to 1100 maybe. So they're definitely exaggerating that velocity rating that they have there. So I'm gonna say this is terrible 22 long rifle ammo, but pretty good 38 special ammo. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.